Good evening, guys.
Hello.
All right, let's get this started. So as you may have heard, we'll be discussing whether Solana Foundation should be dissolved. For the motion is Dan from Solana Foundation.
Let's go.
That'll be interesting. And against is Victor from Rockaway X. All right, so the way this will work is both parties have about 3.5 minutes to discuss for and against. We'll have about 10 minutes of Q&A, and then we'll be rotating stances and concluding. So, Dan, on to you.
All right. So, depending on the outcome of this debate, many of my employees and team members in the audience are going to wonder if they still have a job after this. So, I hope this is worth your while. So, why should we dissolve the Solana Foundation? I want to start with just a little bit of background. Where did the foundation come from? And what's its origin story? The foundation was created with the launch of Solana mainnet. Some tokens were set aside for its operations and to fund its grant programs at Genesis. This allocation of funds has been the foundation's only source of funds from day one, and it continues to support everything we do, including throwing Breakpoint, doing all of the grants and programs that the foundation does. It pays my salary and my teams and everybody here. The foundation deploys the treasury to support grant funding and staking programs and supporting the evolution of the Solana network. We fund developer tools to make development on Solana more accessible and easy and secure, and engage communities, builders, companies, and governments all over the world to raise awareness about Solana and its potential. However, the token allocation for the foundation, this makes the Solana Foundation unique in that it is the only entity on Earth that did not earn its soul. Everybody else, including everybody here, everybody who has a stake in the network, in Solana, had to put something on the line: labor, talent, capital, in hopes of some success. The Solana Foundation operates in reverse. We received our funding at the outset and have to endeavor to make retroactively the value and trust put in us by the network worth that cost. But is it worth the cost? This may have been true in the early days, but perhaps less so now. I've always told my whole team, everybody at the foundation, that our job is to work ourselves out of a job, find scalable ways to support the network, support the ecosystem, and then get out of their way. The ecosystem has grown and matured, and now there are fewer than ever existentially important needs that the community cannot solve on its own, and they can potentially do so in a way that's more efficient than how the foundation operates. As clearly evidenced by what we've seen this week at Breakpoint, the network, the ecosystem stand so strong on their own now. And by whatever metric you want to use, I still want to see Solana 10x, 100x, 1,000x from where it is today. And there's no way that an organization or any single organization like the foundation can or should grow its headcount and its costs to support proportionally that kind of growth without becoming some inefficient bureaucratic monstrosity. The Solana Foundation's relative importance in the ecosystem is in decline. And I think this is an incredibly healthy development. And to extrapolate that to its natural conclusion, when the ecosystem can do everything that the foundation can do and more, that is a job well done, and we need to recognize it for what it is. And rather than this organization clinging to life indefinitely, I think it is only right to consider and moving forward with its dissolution.
Okay, nice. So thank you, Dan. I respectfully disagree. I am fortunate enough to be part of the Solana ecosystem since 2018, since the project was called Loom. And even already back then, even now, I was speaking with many of you during the 2 days here at Breakpoint, should we dissolve Solana Foundation? And all the answers were no. And when I ask why, it's because Solana Foundation is like a family to us. So when I think about the family, I think about a couple of things. Number one is values. We have a strategic direction. We are building a giant state machine instantly replicated globally. But other foundations, I don't want to name them, They are an RWA chain, and then they are next week a AI chain, and the week after they are like a chain abstraction chain. Another foundation, I don't know if you remember, but beginning of 2024, they started to buy meme coins because they wanted to piggyback on that trend. So we don't have that. We have one single direction since white paper 0.8.12. Secondly, it's love. I think, Solana is a chain which grew out of bear markets. You remember all the hackathons that Solana Foundation was organizing? We had the Ignition Hackathon in 2020. We had the Riptide. And then the brutal bear market of 2023 hit. We had Grizzlython, like massive bear. And actually, developers were participating. We had like 700 developers, 1,000 developers. You remember hacker houses? So the first unofficial hacker house was in Lisbon during Breakpoint 2021. And then the official one, we partnered with Solana Foundation, and we did it in Prague. We booked a train from Berlin to Prague, 400 developers. So interestingly, first we called German railways. Hey, can we rent a train? They're like, no way. So then we called Czech railways. Can we rent a train in Prague, go to Berlin, put in some people, and then go to Prague? And they're like, of course, but it's going to be expensive. How much? $40,000. So we actually rented the train. We put Solana stickers on the train. It was amazing. We had a DJ. We were coding, programming. This love, I think, is maintained by Solana Foundation, and that's why it needs to stay. Third thing is protection. I think Solana Foundation needs to protect us from, for example, censorship. And the fourth one is grants and money. I presented 2 days ago a fuzzer by Aki, and it was sponsored by Solana Foundation. So thank you very much. Stay with us. Yeah, it's family.
All right, I'm going to just start off with some questions, right? So what I took from you is that Solana Foundation's contributions to Solana could probably be behind it. What I hear from you is that, on the flip side, the foundation runs it closer to what a family is, right? I want to hear from both of you as to what is the ideal end state, as to when would a complete dissolution make sense. And so if your argument is that Solana Foundation's contributions are already here, how close are we to that end state? And if yours is that we're not close to it, then how much more needs to be done? Right? What is the foundation doing towards getting there?
I think it's actually a pretty complex question. I have this graph that I show to the team at Foundation, which is my ideal sort of future vision for the world as the Foundation relates, and it's influence versus time. And it shows Solana being the network, the community, the economy, right, in this incredible growth parabolic arc. And Solana Foundation sort of kind of hanging out, somewhat linear, maybe tailing down a little bit. And it's so clear that the crossover point for the ecosystem's growth and explosive growth, we're in the throes of it, and we have so much further to go. And what are the areas where we try today to focus our efforts are what are the things that the community either cannot do on its own or will not do on its own, and usually these are capital constrained things, right? The foundation has the treasury that it has, and is, I think, today one of the only organizations, maybe the only organization, with the willpower to put significant sums of capital towards very expensive endeavors like R&D for the network, for the protocol, against these things, which will hopefully benefit everybody in Solana. But at what point does that become no longer true, right? If there is a team that is maintaining a fleet of validators or wrote a validator client or has a multi-billion-dollar profit business built on top of Solana, those companies and those teams have the economic incentive to make sure that the network remains performant and decentralized and secure and that developers can come. And we may not have reached that quite critical mass yet, where there is some entity that is not Solana Foundation, that's willing to put the kind of resources into the network with no expectation of return yet. But I think we're approaching that point.
I mean, one argument is that you wouldn't reach that point until you finally make that leap, right? So, yeah. I think
I'm still arguing for no dissolving, yeah? So I guess very practically. Solana Foundation Delegation Program is delegating roughly, I think, like 70 million SOL tokens to 70% of validators. There was a study by Helios done in August. If we stop the Solana Foundation Delegation Program, 60% of validators will not be profitable anymore. That's why we need Foundation, number one. Number two is just being a single point of contact for example, governments and PayPal and Franklin Templeton, like the TradFi boomers, sorry for the word, like they need someone to call. And we need that, governance/coordination entity. I don't think we can survive without that. We also need protection from for example, I'm European, I don't know what's going on in terms of regulations in the US, but if SEC designates Solana SOL token as a security, who's going to protect us? I hope it will be Foundation.
You mentioned the delegation program, and this is something I've been very involved in for over 5 years now in all of its forms. And it's true, we absolutely support a lot of validators, and I'm proud of the work that program has done. And I think what is really important to make the distinction is, you're right, if we stopped doing that program, right, if we stopped our, the staking strategies that we do to support validators, would that change some of the validator distribution? Absolutely. Would Solana Network go away? No.
Yeah.
So I would say our engagement, while I still believe very beneficial and helpful, is no longer existentially important to Solana Network, nor to the community. And I think this is an incredible sign of maturation, right? I don't think that this is a failure of the foundation. I think it is a difficult conversation, and I'm glad we're having it, but one that says, hey, are we mature enough that we can look at, can we add sufficient value to justify an organization like this existence, knowing that if we did nothing at all, if I said, okay, however many of my team is here, I love you, you're fired, that would be pretty uncomfortable, but Solana would persist indefinitely. And I think that is an incredible accomplishment thanks to everybody here.
So that's why it needs to stay.
All right, I'm just going to go ask the next question, right? So both of you guys have mentioned coordinating entity. Solana Foundation is a coordinating entity. At what point in time does a coordinating entity that contributes to research and all the other nonprofit initiatives that are required becomes a cause for centralization relatively? Like, do you see that as a risk at all?
I really don't. I think a really important distinction, and something that is lost on the blunt instrument that is Twitter, the ability to coordinate is not the same thing as centralization. And so I think the foundation as a coordinating entity, which is something that we pride ourselves on, in helping people wayfind through the ecosystem and find resources and get connected to other teams, is certainly valuable. And again, to my point, have we reached a point, or will we in the near or medium-term future, where even the coordination that we provide, are there other ways that people can find that way more efficiently?
I would say, look, I don't think documentation is done. I don't think developers' relations, we have really finalized the work we have to do. I think, yes, we are now just doing formal verification of Solana code. I think we should also do fuzzing of Solana code. And who else will do it if not the foundation?
All right. There's a term that you use that's a bureaucratic monster at some point in your initial thing, right? What makes you think Solana Foundation can potentially be a bureaucratic monster as it stands today?
I think we've fortunately avoided a lot of the bureaucracy. We're still an organization of people, and we make the decisions we make. We're far from perfect. But I would say the foundation is a much smaller organization than I think a lot of people believe that it is. We have about 65 full-time employees today. And the Solana ecosystem measures in however many devs and users, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of users. And I really want to, always would want to see that ratio of, number of things in Solana, validators, users, developers, right, as a fraction of the spend or the headcount at Foundation should always increase. And if that increases asymptotically or to infinity, what does that imply for what is this sort of fixed costs that one could say that the foundation imposes on the ecosystem by taking community funds and throwing awesome events like this one.
So I think great job. I think like 60 people, that's actually very efficient. If you compare to other foundations, Ethereum Foundation is 300 people. Lido Foundation is around 150 people. I actually just tweeted like an analysis we did across different foundations, not Solana, I don't have the numbers. But I would say, as an investor, like I need more transparency, that's for sure. And I think Arbitrum Foundation is probably the benchmark where like twice per year they publish reports. I can see their budget, 1.7 billion. I can see that they have 31 people. And I can see that they are spending $70 million per year, and I see exactly on what. So, but congratulations, 60 is not bad.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to have you guys change stances. Yeah.
Pick it up. Pick it up.
It's done.
All right, pick it up. So now's your chance. Oh, wait, did I do it wrong? Oh, all right. This is why you need the foundation.
Yeah.
Right? Thank you.
Exactly.
All right. So yeah, we reversed answers, right?
Sure.
Explain why we need the foundation.
Other than the fact that I really love my job and my team, I think, and I will stand by the points that I've made, I think the job is not done. I think the need for a neutral, coordinating entity within the Solana ecosystem exists now and will persist for quite a long time. Even on the network level, which really is the most important thing for all of Solana. If the blockchain doesn't work, we can all go home because we failed, right? There are, at least that I could list off, 5 separate teams, 5 separate companies working on Solana validator software, which is going to runs the whole blockchain. And the one thing that I think we can do best in this broad, high-context organization that we have is bring the right smart people together to have these conversations to help push the network forward. Everybody has their own opinions and desires on what we should do with the protocol. How do we make this faster? How do we fix that? And one thing that Solana has done incredibly well over its lifetime is ship incredibly efficiently, ruthlessly fast, perhaps too fast occasionally, and our ability to simply say, hey, let's get the right people in the room, sit down, open a beer, you're not leaving until we figure this out, and let the brilliant people that are out there in the ecosystem have their voices heard, come to consensus, and then we can all say, okay, this is what has been decided, let's move forward. Acting in this coordinating fashion, I think, while not existentially important, is a tremendous accelerant to the continued growth that we're seeing in Solana.
So, okay, I'm going to try to take the other side. It's tough, but I think Solana Foundation should be dissolved, and I think we should burn the 80 million tokens that Solana, I assume they hold, I actually don't know the number, but that's the delegation program. And, burning tokens would be good for Sol holders.
Number go up.
And I told you it was going to be controversial. Secondly, I think we need to create something like a Linux Foundation, which, yes, was created 20 years ago, but has an annual budget of $260 million, and they are revenue-generating entity. 50% of that is membership. I think, Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, they should pay membership fees. Platinum membership at Linux Foundation is $500,000 per year. I would rather them to pay for these services than us, the Sol holders. Secondly, I think, thank you. Secondly, I think, we are in a stage where, like a SpaceX rocket, where like the main rocket is arriving to mesosphere. We are at 50,000 kilometers, and we are now at the main engine cutoff. And it's not like a Soyuz rocket where like the main engine just goes down and crashes. I think it needs to like go down and softly land near the Houston control center. But we need some kind of self-funded entity where which we could call and say, hey, Houston, we have a problem. We have a censorship problem, or we have a SEC problem,
yep.
Or we can, for example, need a lender of last resort if a liquid stake token has issues. So we need an entity, but I think it should be financed differently.
All right, we have one last question, and that's for you, right?
Sure.
When and how would the Solana Foundation, when would you feel comfortable dissolving the foundation? When is the work done?
When is the work done? Well, I don't know if the work is ever going to be done for Solana. And we've seen the functions of the foundation evolve and actually somewhat contract over the last year or so, which is great. We've had about 6 foundation employees that have left with my congratulations to go start or join other projects in the ecosystem, which is where that talent belongs. Building more talent in the ecosystem, whether they come through foundation or whether they come from any of the other places, I think is tremendously important. And the various ways that we can coordinate and bring the community together, I think are just going to be really important for a long time. As an example, if I might, to everybody here. Did you all enjoy Breakpoint? Brought to you by Solana Foundation.
All right, we're up on time, and with that, we'll wrap up. Thank you.
Thank you.